Welcome back, fellow aviation lovers and enthusiasts, to the Frontier Virtual Podcast, episode 15. I am your host and captain on today's episode, and joining me here in the right-hand seat is my first officer and today's co-host, Drew. For those missing Matt, he's currently on a cruise right now down in the Florida area. So if you're tuning in, Matt, or if not, we do miss you and hope to see you back in the next episode. For those joining us live, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching this as a pre-recorded episode after we go down, I do hope we answer all your questions and that you get a glimpse into what it's like being in FVA. Welcome, one and all. You can find us on our social media sites, including our website, frontiervirtualairlinesif.weebly.com, on our Instagram page at FrontierVA. You can find us on the Infinite Flight community forums. Just create an account, go over there, and in the search bar, type in Frontier Virtual Airlines. Will be the top listing. And you can find us on our YouTube channel here, which if you're listening to this live or if you're watching as a video, you have already succeeded that, so well done. We do have a Frontier community forums. It is by invite only, as we are having some issues with the Discord server. So if you'd like to join that, see all things Frontier VA, please make sure to comment below, and one of our staff will work with a link for you. Or if you're here for the live chat, just go ahead and comment below, and we'll get a link to you as soon as we can. But what would an episode be without a wonderful guest to join us and to spice up the conversation? Through grinding and pure dedication to what it means to be a Frontier virtual pilot, I am not only happy but very honored to welcome our first ever senior officer here at Frontier VA to the flight deck. The man himself, Nathan Spector, has earned the highest ranking position, which is senior officer, within 2 weeks after accumulating 40 hours flight time. Nathan, I cannot express my joy enough in having you here. Welcome to your first appearance on the FVAcast. How you feeling?
Well, Robert, it's amazing to be here, and honestly, I'm truly amazed with myself, to be honest. I can't believe I got that many hours in such a little amount of time. And
it truly is an achievement worth noting, and I'm very honored that we have you as a pilot.
I'm very honored to be here. I just started joining virtual airlines a couple weeks ago. I mean, not even that. A few weeks ago. Let's put it that way. And I was looking through the IFC thread, and I was coming across Frontier, and I was I'm gonna give it a try. Why not? And I joined, and I gotta say it's a family. It's amazing. I can't express how much it means to be here, and it's amazing. It's truly awesome, Robert. I'm speechless.
Well, don't ever think it's me or just any. It's all of our staff, and
I 100% agree.
And I'm just so happy to have you here. Again, I've gotten to know you a lot. Yeah, ever since I noticed how quickly you were excelling up, I was like, this looks like a guy that I could, get behind and use him to show just how amazing our pilots are. And, a huge thanks to all those working behind the scenes. Before I do forget, and I'm sure he's biting his fingernails in the side wings, we do have Drew here with us. Drew, welcome back to the podcast. It's been a while since we've had you, man.
Hey, what's going on? And I actually was biting my fingernails.
So you have no fingernails now. You're just dang it, when is he going to let me in? Well, it's nice having you back. I think the last time we had you was our episode of introducing you as the first staff to join us since Daniel started. But it's good to have you back anyway, and thanks for holding off while I introduced our star tonight.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, okay. Let's just speak English. How about that? But anyway, let's jump right into the episode here. Nathan, go ahead, and we're gonna get to some questions on down the road. But for now, let's just start by kind of introducing yourself. How did you come to love aviation? What's your historical background? If you literally within the past month came to love aviation, any of that, give us the juicy details. Make us salivate. How did you come to love aviation, my friend?
So let me give you some food here. Some oranges, maybe make them
Some
maybe.
dinner. I need some dinner. I'm hungry.
Oh yeah, my man. I will give you all those details. So, it was actually a couple years ago. I actually started playing Infinite Flight, and I started off. It was just like a game where it wasn't as popular to say so as it is now, and I had some school friends play, and I still do have some school friends that play it. Just don't talk to them as much, but I played it, and I thought it was decent, but I quit after a while, and I started trying to find other like iOS games that could like have some like flight games, but I just wasn't finding any, and I still had it like on my device, my phone. I never clicked the app. I don't know. I just didn't have the feel, and just about a couple months ago, I found out. I looked at, not that I found out, but I looked at like the App Store, like looking through my updates, and obviously a lot of updates have stacked up on Infinite Flight, and I took a look, and I was like, it seems pretty cool, so I'll give it a try. And I came back after Global, so when I took a look at Global, I was like, I was truly amazed. I was like, what did they do with this game? Like, this has become like not just some graphics. Well, not by graphics. Like not just some game with like where you just have like no airlines, that you have some basic generic aircraft, and you just take off and land. Like this has become a real simulator. And I started to get back in. I started to do some routes and everything, but obviously I wasn't that familiar with the game as I am now. And I was about grade one. Obviously, I was grade one, started off as grade one, and I started to kind of build my way up, and I got to grade two, and faster than I expected. And after just a couple months of playing, which is probably took some time, but I'm now grade four, and I've like truly came to love the game and everything about it, and I was super excited to hear about the CRJ and all the new, what they call the school bus, the Spirit A321. Obviously Frontier and the new liveries, but that's okay. That's about Infinite Flight. Let's go to actual aviation, and let me give you those. Let me make it a little spicier. To say so, my grandpa actually would go out with me when I was young, and we would go out and just fly like these little like radio control airplanes around. And he would hand me the controls, and he would say like, do this, do that, and I would like kind of take off and then land. And I don't know, I kind of like at that moment, like I kind of knew what I wanted to do. And actually, just a couple months later, I was flying over to I was flying to Punta Cana, and we were taking a Boeing 737, and I walked into the airplane, and I looked around, and I asked my mom, I was like, can I like take a seat can I ask the flight attendant if I could hop in the cockpit and or flight deck or take a seat, and she was like, go for it, but I don't know if they're gonna let you. So I just took a chance at it. Went in, and they let me, and the co-pilot wasn't in the flight deck yet, and the captain, he let me sit in the co-pilot seat. And my mom was obviously panicking, like every mom would. She was like, no, don't do that. Like, he let me like touch some buttons. He let me like do some of the pre-check or before. No, I'm losing my mind. Like before, obviously, like you check, and I'm not so like professional at it, or don't know that much about aviation yet, so I can't really think of the name, but I knew the name, but just regular basic checks of the aircraft and everything. And obviously my mom was panicking. She told me, no, don't touch that, don't do that, don't hold the yoke, don't do anything, basically. And I took a picture, and from that moment on, I was like, in somewhat years, I don't know when, I want to be the person sitting here. I want to let other kids or other families or other people come in and experience how amazing it is to, fly such a majestic airplane or a majestic thing. I don't know. and it's in the sky, and I enjoy every time I'm on the airplane. I don't sleep, I don't do anything, I literally just stare out the window, and I enjoy every second of it. I think truly amazing. I absolutely love it, and I'm looking obviously forward to maybe going to flight training later, and you know, trying to get my pilot's license and becoming a commercial airline pilot. And I'm definitely excited to do so. I just have to wait a little bit, but play some Infinite Flight with my good buddies. But other than that, I think my general aviation ramble is over. And Robert, what do you think of it, my man?
That's a very interesting background. I got kind of caught up in the whole story of sitting in the seat and in the cockpit. And thankfully, when I took, it's like a rite of passage. As soon as you sit into that seat, you become you've like elevated to the next level. And
I completely agree.
And I remember for my first time doing that, I was actually flying solo, so I didn't have to worry too much about the whole parent anxiety. But
I see.
yeah, I had my older brother with me, and I remember he actually freaked out because I took it was, I mean, of all aircraft, it was a Boeing 737 for Southwest, and he thought I was literally like, because I took the yoke and I started turning it to the left, and he was like, "Dude, you're gonna crash the plane." I was like, "You do realize we're sitting at a gate." So
yeah.
very interesting story, and I like your background into how you came to FVA. It's always nice hearing those, because believe it or not, it is, and I hate having to admit this, but it is hard for me to pay attention to each individual pilot. And when you guys join, or when you guys leave, or when you guys are active and stuff, sometimes I don't notice it. And so people come to me and they're like, hey, did you see that I sent this, or did you see that I joined? And I'm like, I do apologize, but I honestly wasn't paying attention. So
it's completely understandable.
That's my quote unquote New Year's goal. I mean, we're kind of almost 4 months in, but that's my New Year's goal, is to pay more attention to you guys, and make sure that we all have that aviation story we can express to those around us. So very nice being able to hear that. I do enjoy being able to engross myself in other people's history. So just a general question for you: are you into which of the three most commercial, military, or general aviation?
Commercial.
And what's your favorite aircraft?
This is a really tough one. See, I can't really. So some people say if it's not Boeing, I'm not going, and some people say, I don't know. I remember you told me the Airbus quote, but
if it ain't Airbus, it ain't for us.
Yeah. I know some people, go generally by that quote and literally do stick with it. Personally, me, I'm just astonished with how much aviation has grown in terms of commercial aircrafts. I think everyone should be proud of Airbus. I think everyone should be proud of Boeing, because if you take a look at what the planes were back in like the 1900s and see how much they've evolved, I think you could relevantly see that it would be better flying even if you hate like Boeing, it would be better flying in a Boeing 737 than flying in one of those like little either prop or just starting to become like jet engines. Or I know they had like whatchamacallit? I forgot what they call it, but I think just if you take a look, personally, to answer your question, if I really did have to choose one, I would probably go with the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, just because of how much, just because it just shows you how much aviation has grown in like technological ways, like just how fuel efficient planes are starting to become. And I know they're not only that, but they're adding like winglets and for most of the Airbus aircraft, and I mean all of the Airbus aircraft, and they have the sharklets on the Boeing aircraft, and they've made like an Airbus A380 Plus. I mean, they're upgrading like every single. I mean, the A321LR. I mean, the Boeing 737 Max 8, Max like Max 9, Max 7. I mean, if you just take a look at all the aircraft, I think we should be proud of how much they've grown, because we, us humans, have things to do and we have to travel. And I think there isn't a better or safer way than doing it by air travel. And I think just to answer your question, I would probably have to go with the 787 or the 737 Max. Or the Airbus A321. I just can't make a full or a complete answer to
But
that
see,
question.
that kind of draws more respect in, because I think like people who have such open minds that like they don't, they don't have a bias based on aircraft manufacturer. They're just like, if I like this airplane, I like this one, I like this one. I like
Right.
them because they're an airplane, and I really respect that. And I kind of wish that I could twist myself to do that, but that
Well,
preset bias for Airbus. Not that I have anything against Boeing, everyone, so don't get
right.
too worked up over that. But that preset
Hmm.
bias for Airbus was set into me from a very young age, and I've just
Hmm.
never been able to get over it. But I'm very happy to hear that you're kind of open to the new world and
Definitely.
to all the new aircraft. And I do have to agree, the 787 Dreamliner is an absolute beauty.
Yeah.
I have not been able to compare it to like the A330 or anything comparable, so I don't know if I would prefer it once I got the Airbus equivalent. But yeah, I was able to fly them United 787 Dreamliner from Denver to San Francisco. So my very first experience on the Dreamliner, and it was actually
That is
quite
very cool.
enjoyable. Absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead, and now that we got kind of a background, and anybody in the chat, if you guys like to comment below any questions you have for Nathan based on his aviation background, feel free to do so. I will do my
Shoot away.
best to keep an eye on the chat, and if I miss your question, I do truly apologize. We got a million things going on at once, and I got 3 different sources I got to keep an eye on. So, thank you very much for any
Anytime.
comments that you do.
Oh,
I do appreciate it.
never mind. Sorry.
No, you're fine, Nathan. I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
No. That was my phone.
All right, so this episode today is going to be on our ranking system. So let me just kind of introduce for everybody who doesn't know what our ranking system is. So far, since the liveries and ATIS update for Flying Development Studios and Frontier Virtual came out, I have pushed for a brand new update to Frontier Virtual, which so far has been working absolutely amazing. Obviously, it's been working amazing because we have Nathan here today. 40 hours in. I don't know if I could have personally motivated anybody without this update to get that much flight time. So Nathan is a living proof of what this update has been able to do for Frontier. And let me just go ahead and dice it down for you. The way we've set it up is so that folks who are joining start at a base level, and they will climb their flight time up. And the more flight they do for Frontier VA in a certain aircraft, the higher ranking they'll get, and they will be able to unlock the aircraft tier above them. So the way I've it set up right now is Airbus A318 Frontier Chloe the Fawn livery is our base aircraft. Everybody who joins gets access to that aircraft, and that's locked with the trainee pilot rank. So basically, the A318, everybody gets. Doesn't matter your rank. Doesn't matter if you're 0 hours in FVA or if you're 200 hours in FVA. You get access to it anytime. Then from 0 to 10 hours, that's your A318 period. But once you hit the 10 hour and 1 second mark, you have climbed the rank to Frontier Virtual First Officer, and from there you move from the engineer's status to the right hand seat in the cockpit, and you get access to our Airbus A319. We are hoping that we can get some liveries on those, but for now we use the generic livery on the A319. And from 20 hours to 30 hours in 1 second, you get to fly the A319. Once you graduate and you hit 20 hours, I mean, that's already a feat in and of itself. We cannot thank you for 20 hours is enough. Every second you put in is incredible. But once you hit 20 hours, you get to unlock the infamous Airbus A320 with our 5 liveries that everybody likes to fly. So the way I tiered it was so that we would be able to, kind of get motivated, because nobody wants to fly, outdated liveries, outdated aircraft. So taking the A318 and people are like, okay, I see it has a Frontier livery, but I would like to, kind of promote myself, kind of elevate myself to the nice aircraft. So there's a little bit of motivation behind it. It's not just, status. It's also, I want to get to the cool aircraft, the cool liveries. And from 20 hours to 30 hours, we do have you fly the A320, and I think that's kind of everybody's most content with that, because you have 5 different livery choices. So right around that mark, progress for each personal pilot starts to slow down. But nevertheless, we have everybody still climbing. And once you hit the 30-hour mark, you hit senior first officer. And once you get that mark, you get the Airbus A321. And that's with our new Virginia the Wolf livery, thanks to Ryan Vince, who has absolutely no relation to Frontier Virtual itself, but he is and he's employed under, or he works with Flying Development Studios on their liveries. So he worked up that livery for us. So my entire VA to Ryan, thanks you. That Airbus A321 is unlocked at Senior First Officer / Captain, and once you grace the 40-hour period mark, you are an official senior officer, and you get access to the Airbus, basically all of our Airbus fleet and our CRJ 700 aircraft, our only our only non-Airbus aircraft, which we currently don't have, but we're waiting with bated breath for Flight Development Studios and Infinite Flight to update that. I think everybody in our VA is excited for that. And once that does come out, I absolutely foresee a huge jump in flights because, I mean, let's face it, everybody gets a little bit tired of Airbus. Even me, I'll admit it. I like flying variations. Usually I go to Bombardier over Boeing, but I'm very excited to introduce Bombardier into our fleet, and can't wait to see the direction that FVA is going. Drew, I'm going to pull you in here. You've been very patient off from the sidelines, and I just wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts, ideas on our current ranking system?
Well, I mean, I like it. I think before, I mean, no one had motivation to fly, honestly. So I think it brings more activity in general. Also, the routes of the week that I post, I think that helps it too. I can't talk, but yeah, that's what I think about it, honestly.
Yeah, and your routes of the week, I'm pretty sure everybody in the VA can testify. Your routes of the week are absolutely incredible. They've helped our pilots achieve a good amount of time. And for those who don't know what our routes of the week are, if you join Frontier Virtual and you join our community, the incredible Mr. Drew here does post routes every day. So every day of the week, 7 days, we have a swap up, and basically Drew decides what routes are going to be the most incredible, ones that are the most beautiful, ones that we don't fly enough. It's basically our tourist attraction route of the week. And Drew does do the hard work on that, and you get double flight time, which is the biggest motivation. So if you fly a 2-hour flight from I don't know, let me pull my Frontier memory. I believe Denver to Minneapolis might be about a 1.5 to 2 hour flight, and if that's say the route of the week route for that day, you'll get to log 4 hours instead of 2 hours. So it gives motivation for people to fly our less used routes, and it just overall it's a very nice system. So, and Nathan, what are your thoughts on the routes of the week? Because I do know you did use a good point of that, and what from a pilot's perspective, how do you appreciate, or how do you think that maybe the routes of the week could change, or do you just think that it's good as it is?
I want to agree with Drew on one thing. I think that it does motivate pilots to be more active and do routes that maybe weren't done as much earlier or aren't as popular. And I think it does motivate people that it's like, hey, like you're gonna get times your flight time, double the flight time, put it more, Englishly manner, grammarly manner, but you get double the flight time. Let's go do a flight, or have someone, maybe have the Slack get more active, and have like people from left and right saying, hey, let's go do the ROTW or the route of the week, or I do love it. I think it not only did it motivate me. I mean, I'm gonna be totally honest. Even if there wasn't route of the weeks, I still would have like looked on the route database and just kind of like maybe saw what routes were, cool, or just kind of fit my time. But I think that Drew, I thank you, and really I think you keep up the amazing work, keep posting those routes of the weeks, and keep making them awesome. I think they're absolutely incredible. It makes the job easier for us pilots as we kind of see a route and it's like, oh, we don't have to decide now. I think it just makes it completely easier and it motivates us. And I think it's absolutely incredible. Keep up the great work, Drew. If you ever need any route suggestions, I'm here for you, buddy. And yeah, Robert, I guess that's what I have to say.
Very well said. Drew, do you have any response to that?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm open for suggestions, so you can either comment on the thread or in Slack. It doesn't matter, and I'll probably do it. Look you up with that the route. So I know I've overlapped some of them a couple times. I just forget what I do each week, but that's why I have suggestions to help. Say,
But well said.
give
Well
more
said, Drew.
variety each week. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I personally I tried, like, I believe when I first did the routes of the week, did the very first week, I was like, there's no way I can handle this, and Drew's just stepped up and he's been amazing. He's one of those people who hides in the shadows and he doesn't get credit for what he does, and so thank you very much, very much, Drew, for your work here.
Oh,
You're a special person to us, especially in the staff.
I enjoy doing it. It gives you more of an insight of the whole system of where they fly and everything. You can see all the crazy cool routes that they do instead of the standard that you would fly day in and day out.
Well said, and like Nathan was saying, because of your dedication and you're working on the routes, these pilots are able to find the motivation to climb our rank system. So basically, the way I see it is, in order for our pilots to be successful, we need you, Drew, to keep up the routes of the week. So thank you very much for it. Man, I literally keep forgetting how amazing my staff is, and I mean, it blows my mind. I sit here and I think, okay, Daniel's here. Daniel's amazing. Daniel does most of the work. And then I turn around and I'm like, what about Drew, though? Drew does a lot of the work, too. He handles a lot of the Slack activity. When he's around, he'll pop in. He'll be like, what's up, guys? He'll work on the routes of the week. He'll make sure everything's fine. He's always there to answer to listen to my complaints that I have on certain subjects. And he's an overall great guy. You too, Mike, and Captain Matt, who's currently in Florida. Both you guys are also included in my amazing staff. I'm so blessed to have such the staff that I do. So thank you very much, Drew, for your work. And yeah, we'll move right on. Since I believe we're hitting about the halfway mark. We started a little bit late, but we're at about 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So let me just we'll jump in with some questions, Drew. Nathan, sorry. Go ahead and answer to your liking. I'll just say the person who asked it and give you the question, and serious or not serious, answer it to your pleasure. Sound like a plan?
Yes, sir.
All right, coming in from November 1, Romeo Golf, who I also believe may be a part of Infinite Flight Real World Air Traffic Control, who is a private group right now for VAC group, and what I believe one of the mods in the live chat, OJ Fam, he does currently work with. He's their CEO. So if you have questions about VAC groups in Infinite Flight, he's your man to go. He has the best VAC group out of them all. So anyway, I believe November 1 Romeo Golf's part of that. If not, I apologize if I messed that up. But anyway, November 1 Romeo Golf does ask, what was your reaction when you found out, Nathan, that you were the first Frontier virtual pilot to reach Frontier Captain? And this was asked a little bit before you reached senior officers, so we'll just stick with captain for now.
Okay, sounds good. Well, let me share one thing. I do remember, me and Robert were just chilling in a call, and he was working for his IFATC practical, and I was just doing patterns, kind of helping him out, kind of like having him, doing basic ATC stuff, like telling me when I'm wrong or right, because obviously we're all human, we all make mistakes. So I did make a few mistakes, but I remember, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, how much time did I have left until I reached captain? And I look at my flight time at the bottom, and I'm like, didn't I have like around 28 minutes, and I was at like 26 minutes. And I remember Robert told me, he was like, if you do patterns with a Frontier livery, he'll let it count, because like he told me just my dedication to the airline is just incredible, and he said, he'll gift me with, as long as I do the patterns, which is fair. Obviously, you have to earn it. No one's just gonna tell you like, oh, let me just give you like 1 hour for free or something. No, I completely understand. You have to earn it. You have to do something. And I remember taking a look at the time. I just took off to do another pattern, and I look at the time. It's like 26 minutes, and I'm like, hey, Robert, guess how much time I have left until I become a captain. And he was like, let me, I don't know how much. And I was like, we've got 2 minutes. How about this? I'll land. You'll clear the runway for me. Obviously, you're not going to land with aircraft, but I'm going to land. I'm going to taxi down to the end of the runway, and man, we're going to celebrate. But I mean, not to sound that weird, but I just told him, I was like, I think once I reach captain rank, I think I'm going to head off the pattern work and kind of just think about how much like I've accomplished in that amount of time. And people, I don't say I necessarily know people that do this, but some people might, just kind of, and it's completely totally fine. I'm not saying anything against it. Like, some people might say like, oh yeah, you've accomplished this in a game, but like try to accomplish it in like real life or something. But yeah, but still, it's not just a game. I feel like this game helps me think positive, and helps me like think all the good about life instead of the bad, and kind of helps me communicate with other people. And I've met amazing people. And I'm just gonna say this, I truly love flying with everyone, and I think that I always look for who's online or who wants to fly, and I enjoy talking with, obviously, the amazing people with FVA. And I think Robert's just amazing. I think everyone. I think Daniel's amazing. I think Drew's amazing. I think Matt's amazing. I just who am I missing? Mike. I think Mike's amazing. I think just everyone. Justin, OJ fam. I think just everyone is just truly outstanding, and definitely don't deserve the credit that they deserve. And I don't know where I kind of went. I mean, I kind of went a little off track from the basic question, but that's just kind of like my little input there.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, that's an interesting story. and you don't have to thank me. Like I told you guys, and like I try to tell everybody, I don't like taking credit for what we have now. I mean, I'll fine if you want to credit me for creating the VA. That had to happen first, and yeah, I did that. But from here on out, all I do is pretty much moderate. I come in, I make sure that nobody's spamming us. Then I look over to my staff and I'm like, bros, how's life going? And they're like, okay, this happened, this happened, this happened. Daniel meets me in a DM. He's like, I need this done, I need this, and basically my my staff is just incredible. So
Robert,
they absolutely do deserve all the credit they deserve. I don't deserve any of it. They do deserve all of it.
I agree with you. I mean, not, but I think everyone deserves the credit. But like, I'm not gonna say like, oh, like, Robert, you're gonna get no credit while your staff does. I mean, but I do have to say, I do have to thank your staff, and they deserve a lot of credit for what they do. And they obviously, they're not gonna, and I don't blame them. Obviously, no one's gonna just come out and say, oh, look how much work I'm doing, because it's like you're bragging, like, or like, give me all the credit, like, you know what I mean? I think that us pilots should like take a look and see like how much just our staff, like, not only the CEO, people say, oh, he's a CEO, he deserves all the credit. Like, I mean, a part of that's, no, not like, there isn't a part of that that's true. I mean, yeah, the CEO gets the credit, but if you take a look at his staff, I think the staff team, they deserve a lot of the credit just because of how truly amazing they are and how much they do for not for like just not just, you know, having a buddy to say hi to, or no, I'm actually going to flip that around, not just someone to like do work, but to actually be around and talk and chat with us pilots. And I think it's truly amazing. And I just want to add in one more thing, Robert, if that's all right with you.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure if I was muted or not. Absolutely, man. Take it away. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Go ahead and say what you had in mind.
You know, whenever I fly, I always take a look to see who's on. And, you know, and I completely understand Robert a lot of the times is busy. Obviously, the staff team's really busy, and I'm not, you know, with work and with other stuff, and obviously a lot of the pilots are busy. And there's usually not a lot of people to fly with. But I just want to mention one person that I love to fly with a lot of times, and he flies with me almost all the time whenever, for example, maybe Robert or no one else is on. And, you know, I think I just do have to say that Captain Zach is honestly just an amazing guy. He helped me get to captain rank. I think if it wasn't, I think I wouldn't have had as much fun getting up there to captain rank, if it wasn't for him, as Robert was, and I don't blame any of these guys for being busy. I mean, obviously Captain Zach's busy as well, and obviously I'm busy. Like, we don't have as much time, you know, to with school or with work, obviously. And but I think me and Captain Zach just seem to find times where, like, the perfect times where he's not doing anything and I'm not doing anything. And I think having a flying buddy, not just only my flying buddies, with like the staff or just other pilots that are also amazing. I think having like a flying buddy that you could like say, hey, do you want to do this route right now or other route? I do have to thank Captain Zach. And Zach, if you're watching this, thank you for sticking with me all these times with when we've been out up in the skies together, and when we're not, when me and Robert are up there and we're, you know, just kind of making jokes and chat. And when we're up there, Zach, I think, I don't know, I just want to say thank you to everyone. And that was kind of my ramble on it.
Wow, and I love hearing positive feedback. You know, being in leadership, it's not always candy and butterflies and rainbows and the non-existent unicorn that prances past my window every time I get high. I'm just kidding, but I do appreciate any kind comment, and I know my staff do too. Just because I feel like it, Drew. You know, anything to add on that matter?
No, I don't need to add anything. But Infinite Flight Gaming 01 said he was gonna Gmail me some chicken soup. So I appreciate that. I love you. But in the live chat,
you should send me some pizza. Just putting that out there. All right, all right. Moving on.
Yeah, I wanted to address that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Drew does have a bit of a cold, so I do too. But thankfully, I'm getting over it. It looks like Drew's getting the brunt of what I missed, so I apologize, man. Anyway, moving right along because we are nearing that 20-minute mark before we close out. So I just wanted to kind of push into these questions a little bit more. Reed Great, I think that's how you pronounce it. I apologize if I butchered your name. On the forums, asks Nathan, what are the best things to choose when considering an animal before a flight? He has 3 or 4 questions, but this is the first one. What are the best things to consider when choosing a frontier animal before a flight?
This is probably I kind of like, you know, took a quick glance at the questions on the forums, and I kind of looked at that question. I was like, like, this is probably going to be like the hardest question, just because I just love every single Frontier livery. I think it's unique, which is one reason why it's one of my favorite airlines. Just because, even though it's a budget airline, yeah, but just its liveries are just so unique, like how they implement the animals and how they've changed on liveries, first from being flyfrontier.com, then to just those big gray letters with Frontier. Now it's those beautiful green letters with like, you know, the little underline with the green underline. And I think it's truly just great. But personally, when I like first consider like a livery, I just kind of go like, I don't really have a specific answer for that one. I do apologize if you were looking for a specific answer, like actually to help you out. I really do apologize that I don't have a specific answer, because really when I go to choose a livery, I just kind of just see which one I'm in mood for, like which one I haven't flown with for a while, and maybe one that like it's a special one, maybe one that I like took the, or like obviously when I was flying, when I did well, I was at Punta Cana actually a second time, a little like a couple months later, and I took Frontier that time, and it was an Airbus A320, and it was Alberto and Clipper, and that came up as one of the liveries for Infinite Flight. So actually, before I hit captain rank, I was like, why not celebrate with a livery that I actually did a flight on? And I don't know, I just kind of go by those basics. So once again, I do apologize if I couldn't answer that question more specifically, but that was kind of my little input there.
No, not an issue. And just reading down the chat here, Infinite Flight Gaming 01 back. I mean, you've been mentioned twice, my man. Thanks for your chats. But he says, as a backup, you can just use eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and that's totally true. That's kind of how I do it.
Completely agree. I couldn't find a better way.
I love you guys. Before I ask the next question, I just want to mention all the people who are here today. Make sure you give a huge positive smile to OJ Fam and Daniel, who are moderating the chat today. Captain Matt, good to have you from Florida. Infinite Flight Gaming 01, again, good to have you. And we'll use whatever non-existent influence we have to tell FDS to add a Legionnaire. So we got you, my man. Captain Zach, nice to have you in the house. I love every livery too, Nathan, he says. So you're not the only one there in that dilemma.
All right.
Just making sure I didn't miss anybody. I think there were some people at the very beginning I missed, but all right, we're gonna move. Oh, that's Kaden Marquette. I'm probably butchering these names, and I'm gonna hear it back once this is a recording, and I make sure I didn't screw up, and it's just gonna be like, oh gosh, please, somebody. Anyway, Reed Great also asks if Frontier was to, and I believe this might be a real world aviation, not just Infinite Flight, but if Frontier were to merge with another U.S. carrier, which would you choose? Would you?
Well,
I'm trying to understand the question. I believe what he's asking is, would you still choose to fly Frontier if it merged, or would you choose a different carrier?
No, I think it's if they merge together, kind of like how Alaska and Virgin.
Oh, Virgin America.
Kind of like how Alaska.
Oh, okay. I was like, as soon as I read that, I was like, how does that? Okay, but yeah, go ahead and answer. Go ahead and answer, man.
All right. So I'm just I kind of got a little bit more detail with the question when kind of Drew said, like, kind of gave the example of Virgin America and Alaska. See, this is a little hard one for me. I kind of have two answers for this one. Obviously, Frontier and Spirit are those two like budget airlines that people know pretty well if they live in America, obviously, and
or the equivalent could be said for like Ryanair and EasyJet.
Exactly.
Two very giant low cost carriers.
Exactly.
For those of you who aren't in the U.S. who are like, what is Spirit? What is Frontier? It's basically the equivalent of Ryanair and EasyJet. All right, sorry to interrupt.
Apologies.
I just wanted to make sure that
no,
was
of course. I my apologies since I didn't kind of make another comparison. But so I would probably, for the first one, I would probably have to go with kind of Frontier and Spirit just are two low-cost carriers that I think that for people who like are fine with just, just kind of having, I'm sorry to say this, but like I think no, I personally I fly those airlines all the time, and I think they're great. Just I think sometimes if you're sitting on like for example, like Miami to like LAX or Vegas with either Sprintier. Oh my, Sprintier.
That's good. That's going to be their combined name once they merge.
Oh yeah, man.
You've just foreseen the future.
Spirit and Frontier. I'm kind of going to rush these questions a little bit just because we are starting to get to that 10-minute mark. So yeah, I would probably have to go with like Spirit and Frontier because I think if they could merge together and make and I think they could kind of make a better low-cost carrier and just kind of boost things and just make it so that people can enjoy them more while paying less to say more. If I wouldn't go with Spirit, I'd probably have to say this is kind of hard one just because I don't think that this would ever happen, but like just kind of to throw it out there, probably or maybe like Frontier and Allegiant maybe, because they're three or Allegiant is pretty low cost as well. I'd have to go. I don't see Frontier merging with like Delta or American or United.
I hope not. I hope not. Goodness.
Yeah, just because there's a huge difference. But that's kind of my little answer to that question.
No worries. And from your answer itself, I'm actually kind of curious now. If Frontier and Spirit, hypothetically merge, which livery would you prefer to see? And obviously, I mean, this is a little bit biased because Southwest has like my nightmares are coming true. Spirit does have about 3 liveries, and Frontier has like 80 liveries. So, specifically speaking, just based on personal preference, don't listen to me. Just on your own personal preference, would you rather have the banana bus, or would you rather have one of the animals?
Definitely one of the animals. I'm like straight off the bat. Even though like I was kind of processing the question while you were talking because I was like, see, this is hard for me just because I do honestly, some people, I don't know anybody who's like in the middle for like they like the yellow bus livery, or they're like let me put it this way, either they absolutely love it or they absolutely hate it. I'm kind of one of those people who's kind of like in the middle. Like I like it. It looks pretty neat. I think it looks cool. But if I were to have to choose, I definitely think the Frontier liveries and just how they implemented animals, I think that is definitely, and how it just looks really unique. I think that I would definitely have to go with Frontier.
You just saved your pilot spot. No, I'm just kidding. Well done, my man. Well done, Drew. Do you have any input on which would you prefer to see? Would you prefer the banana bus or a Frontier livery? Or I'll twist it this way for you. Would you prefer if Allegiance merged with Frontier? Would you prefer the Allegiant livery or the Frontier livery?
No.
I mean, you could also answer the banana bus versus Frontier. I'm just giving you a little bit more.
No. I'll stick with the banana bus. But with the banana bus, you can keep the animal tails on it. Just don't paint over the tails. So you have the ugly yellow banana bus, and you'll have the nice, cute animals on the tail.
Ooh,
I didn't even think about that.
I think that's a great idea. Now that Drew, you mentioned it, I think. Yeah, I have to agree with Drew. I want to go with Drew.
Like basically take the iconic parts of both airlines, the yellow on Spirit and the animal tail on Frontier, and combine it.
Right.
Man, you okay?
Perfect.
Wow, that's interesting.
I think that they should make an airline called Spruntier and make Spruntier and just implement just have it instead of Spirit, have it Spruntier, have the yellow, and then have just like animal tails and winglets. I think that would be I would by far like.
I think that would be interesting to fly. Yeah. And like some people are saying in the chat, some people are like, that's going to be ugly. Infinite Flight Gaming is apparently having a seizure, and
I completely understand.
I do agree, guys. I don't think it would look good, but the idea, the concept behind it is very fascinating. Well done, Drew, man. You sure paid off having you here.
No. It would look beautiful. It would look great.
All right, that was Reed. Great. Thank you, sir, for commenting. And don't forget, anybody who's asking questions in the chat, I will not forget about you. We only have a couple on the forums, and then I'm going to switch gears and head over to the chat. So continue to, K Denmark at hashtag Spruntier. It's going to be our new combined slogan. Cough, never. Delta Alpha Lima, or as better as we know him, Mr. Ryan, asks, Nathan, how much sleep did you get in the last 2 weeks after all that grinding?
Ooh, Ryan. This is one where I probably will have a specific answer to, or maybe not. Like, I'm kind of just trying to calculate. Well, let me kind of give you the basic details. Probably, even when I'm not in the air, up in the skies, I usually don't go to sleep until, like, really late. Until, like, about maybe 2 o'clock to 1 o'clock a.m. Central. and I usually wake up around maybe 7 to 8 to 9, when depends on school days and not, 7 to 8 to 9 a.m. Central. But though when I was up in the skies, I mean, to calculate maybe, I wasn't really sleeping too much either way. So, I yeah, maybe I don't actually have a specific answer to that, but probably, let me just put it this way, maybe like 6 hours, 5 hours at night.
Basically, you're a zombie and you just like piloting the plane and like the flight attendant peeks and they're like, do you want a drink? You just turn around like, I want parade. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, sir. I think my passengers get a little frightened. Like, I greet them in my like zombie mood, and they're like, I just want to get off this plane now. Like, get me. I don't care if it's like a, I don't know, I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but like, for example, like, if someone doesn't like one airline, for example, someone doesn't like United, like, I don't care if you put me on a United flight, just like, I don't want to fly with this guy. But
yeah, and I think my passengers would hate me more because, for those who don't know, the A321's given me such issues, and basically my passengers were feeling like they were on the ocean autopilot bug, and so I think I can claim the passengers won't like me badge better. All right, moving on to I believe this is the last question on the forums. Then we're going to shift gears to the live chat. And if you are watching this as a video, feel free to drop a comment below. I'll give it to Nathan. He can either answer himself in the chat after this becomes a video, or he can give me an answer, and we'll still be here to answer questions for you guys. Just because the live stream ends and it's a video doesn't mean that we're not here to answer you and make sure that you understand everything. But moving on to this last forum question. Delta 319 basically just says congrats to Nathan on your position, and
thank you.
And I'm going to twist this both ways because he doesn't really specify, but he says which Frontier tail is your personal favorite. We'll start off with Infinite Flight, which Frontier tail is your personal favorite?
This one I'd probably have to go with Virginia the Wolf, just because. Not because it's new or anything, just because I think that is one of my favorite animals, so I have to go with Virginia the Wolf.
All right, and like, and for real world, I don't know how much of an exposure you've had to the Frontier tails, but on a real world aspect, which one's your favorite? And it can be you've seen a picture of it. It doesn't have to be you've seen it in person.
Okay, sounds good. Well, see, this one I would kind of have to go based off of Flight Radar 24, just because whenever in my spare time, all I do is just kind of go on Flight Radar 24 and just kind of look at planes around, mainly Frontier. I just kind of like go to that bar, go to the airline and click Frontier and just see which Frontier F9 planes are up in the skies, and I just kind of click one and see deliveries. And I think that, to be honest, there's just so many, but I don't believe I remember what this one is called, but it's like, and my apologies, people are going to be making fun of me, like, you didn't know what that was called, or like, you don't know Frontier, but I actually don't have the tail names memorized. It's like a Robert.
Trust me, I have every tail memorized. So
okay,
you just give me the animal, and unless like my illness is stopping me from remembering, I will be able to tell you.
My friend Robert, it was the it was like a peacock, and it was like a red peacock, and it was sitting on like a branch or something. I forgot.
Was that the cardinal?
Yeah, the cardinal.
Orville the cardinal.
Yeah.
I did remember. Mm-hmm. Pat myself on the back. No, I'm just kidding. That was Orville. Good old Orville. I've never had the chance to fly in him yet, so that's a fun part.
No, but I think like I said, I love every single Frontier livery. I love every single livery. This was really hard, but I'm just kind of going based off ones that I saw recently. And definitely out of the ones I saw recently, I think that one's like very colorful and very like, very outgoing, or like it You can spot it out of the corner of your eye. I know I know I'm stuttering quite a little bit, but
No, you're fine, man.
I go and no one will get
You're
it.
fine.
Yeah, no, okay. I'm not fine, Robert.
I'm gonna pose this question to all you guys down there in the chat. What is your favorite frontier tale and slash animal? And you can drop a description of why, or you can just be like, this one's my favorite, and it can be correlation to Infinite Flight because you've flown that specific animal, or like it was with Nathan. You can just be like, oh, I like this animal because I like the animal. Drew, did you have any input on your favorite animal?
Yeah,
I know you haven't had as much down there in Fort Myers, but
no.
Is that where you are? No, you're Punta Gorda. No, where are
Yes,
you?
yeah, where I
Are
am.
you Punta Gorda?
Yeah.
Okay. I was in Florida. I was in the right state. So.
Yeah, close enough. I would probably go, I think, Sunny, the turtle.
Oh, okay.
I think he's my favorite. And then I like Sheldon and the Sim.
Nice.
Completely lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would go with.
Now, does correlation between favorite animal mean you'll fly them in the sim? Like, for example, like every time you go into Infinite Flight, do you think, oh, there's Sheldon, I'm gonna fly him, or do you think that does I guess what I'm asking is, does favorite mean that you'll fly them more often, or you just like delivery?
Well, it depends. Like if we're in a group, I want to mix it up. Like we can all have different tails. That's the goal.
Nice.
So if someone with Sheldon, it is what it is. But so I don't really mind. Whichever one in the sim doesn't matter to me.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, I think my favorite by far is Colorado the Rams, simply because he kind of represents my home state. Which surprise? I mean, a lot of people are surprised. They're like, when I tell them that, they're like, why isn't your favorite the brand new, A321 or Virginia the Wolf or Hugh the Manatee, because they're in the gorgeous green liveries, and it's like those are good liveries, but sometimes old fashioned is nice too. So I respect that you like Sheldon. He's a cool animal, and he's actually the back when we used to assign animals to people who joined, Diarrell Martinez took that animal. So. Anyway, down in the chat, Captain Matt, my bestie, my bro, my guy who got to fly a Delta 757-300. I almost said 747. Don't yell at me, Matt. But 757-300 from Minneapolis down to Florida. He did comment best low cost carrier equals Southwest, and this was a thing I was curious about with you guys. Do you consider Southwest a low cost carrier, or do you consider them a like they should be up with the big three? And we'll start with Nathan first.
Okay. I think, to be honest, it could go either way. I feel like their service and their comfort is outstanding, and I think their prices are relatively decent most of the time, other than obviously all prices increase during like spring break and winter break and all those breaks where people are just like dying to get to either warm places or go skiing up in Colorado. Or I think prices definitely do increase, but I would say on daily basis, I think Southwest, depending on the route, and I think they could go in the bottom three with Allegiant, Frontier, and Spirit. But there are also be times where it rises up to prices of like United American and United American and like Alaska Airlines or Virgin America or Alaskan Air. But I said that, but I don't know if it's Alaska, however you want to put it. But
yeah, that one's always messed me up. I just stick with whichever one is wrong, just to make people upset. I'm just kidding. I don't do that.
Well, obviously, I'm missing JetBlue and Delta. I just remembered. I know that Delta, obviously for their comfort and their service, they like to have one of the higher prices. But I mean, for people who like that, I mean, it's totally fine. But yeah, to go back to the general question itself, I think Southwest is morally to put with Spirit, Frontier, and Allegiant. But I do have to say, my apologies, Robert, or for anyone who is biased. I do have to say Southwest does, in my book, have better reviews than Spirit, Frontier, and Allegiant, just because of its service and its comfort and just it's just, yeah. just because of how they treat people and just flight attendants and I think that rating can go up with like Delta, JetBlue. I think that part could go up with the major airlines, but I think that the price can stick down with Frontier, Spirit, and Allegiant. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if I'm wrong, but that's just kind of mine. But
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no right or wrong here. It's kind of just up in the air, and I'm sure there's gonna be those people who can be like, "What are you saying? Of course it's this, of course." But
yeah,
we all have our personal ideas, and I think yours is completely valid. I personally think they're starting to charge a lot more. Again, that's just my personal opinion. I have a personal bias against Southwest, and that may be why.
figured.
Drew, go ahead and chime in with us. What do you think
Well,
about Southwest? Low
their
cost carrier or not?
Wikipedia page says they are a low cost carrier, but I don't think they are. Like
And
Zach
why don't you
says,
think they
like
are?
Zach says in the chat. I wouldn't say they're low cost anymore, but occasionally those $4 sales will come around because they don't have consistent low prices like that, like Frontier, as you would see.
Yeah, and they're starting to offer certain things that a low cost carrier, in my personal opinion, wouldn't, like, Wi-Fi and free stuff and free bags and all that fun stuff. But
Right.
I mean, like, again, every opinion is completely valid. I don't hold anybody to a specific choice.
No, Robert, I was wrong now.
No, man, I know Mike, who's also a staff member. Mike, hello. He's down in the comments. He did agree with you, so it's 2v2. We'll wait for the tie to
Yeah,
break. I mean,
Mike.
I'm sure it's changed since then, but we'll move on down the chat. Thank you, Justin and Dana, by the way, for doing the moderating. I've just been sitting here, leaning back with a cup of coffee, just listening to Nathan and Drew talk. It's been really fun so far. Zach says there's just no way I can get on a banana bus. I tried it once, my friend. Denver to LAX wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, and it wasn't a banana bus delivery. So maybe they're not as bad as people think. Post your conspiracy comments. No, I'm just kidding. What do you think, Nathan? What do you think about Spirit? Would you fly them?
Uh, I definitely do have to say that Spirit not just because they're have good prices for most of their flights. I fly them regularly just because I go to Fort Lauderdale a lot, and they're based out of, or they do a lot of like routes from Chicago to Fort Lauderdale, and
Yeah, I think Fort Lauderdale is like one of their big hubs, so that makes sense.
oh yeah, it is, and I do usually I do I'm actually flying them.
Oh, that's
like
right. You told me. Yeah.
yeah, I'll be taking them in about 4 days. The A320 yellow school bus down to Fort Lauderdale, and I'll definitely take a few pictures. Maybe show around. Maybe.
Yeah, as
Huh.
if you don't get that yellow school bus every day anyway.
Oh yeah. One thing I do have to mention, what I love about Spirit is just because
Let,
I love.
let me just stop you right there. And guys, I want you to listen. He said, one thing I love about Spirit. Okay, I've never heard those words from anybody. So, momentous occasion. I'm just sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Nah, no worries. One thing, I mean, it's not. Let me rephrase it, just so people don't
One thing
hate
I
me
hate
on this.
about no man, just say I love it. I don't. I was just it just blew my mind. Like love and Spirit. I've never thought of those two, and
I'm
like most
sorry.
people just tolerate them. But no,
Yeah,
man. Like I said, I love people who are so open to accepting of all airlines and not biased like me. So
completely understand.
I was rude. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No. You're totally fine. I'm the guest here, so you can interrupt me as much as you want. I can't interrupt you, and obviously Drew. So, but oh yeah, okay. So going back, one thing I do, okay, I'll say love about Spirit, and what just makes me smile and laugh every time I sit. I usually like to sit more on the left side of the airplane. I don't know. If it's a superstition, I just kind of have most of my flights. I usually get a seat on the left side. And one thing I do love is just how they have written down howdy. Like I just it makes me smile and it just makes me laugh. And it like every time I I take Frontier, just the animal, I think it's incredible, but just the howdy, I think that's creative. I think that maybe they just got bored and they're like, well, we don't know anything else to put. Like, we were not going to just write down Spirit, so let's just put hi, howdy. I think that's creative.
Yeah, it's very interesting. What about I don't know, Drew, have you ever flown the banana bus or just Spirit in general? I don't actually remember if you
No,
said.
no, I haven't. I don't plan on it. Um, but
I don't blame you.
whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, lovely.
I love how I'm out of the club. Like, I prefer this like low cost carrier, while other people like, nah, we're too Gucci for that. We're gonna go with like Delta. Like, no, that was just a joke. Like, I completely understand. Like, I love Delta. I think it's an incredible airline, and
Yeah,
I just had to put that.
Delta's incredible, but Frontier's always better. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think, I mean, like you like Spirit. Drew likes to. I don't know if he likes Allegiant, but he likes to catch Allegiant
Oh,
MD-80s slash
I love
MD-90s.
Allegiant as well. I'm sorry to cut you off there. I just kind of had to go back
No,
into it.
80s. Yes, 80s,
they're
not
the
90s.
MD-80s. Okay,
Don't have
like
90s.
my experiences with Airbus and with slight Boeing, like you know, the MDs and Bombardier, it just gets to a point where I'm like, how many more different types of this aircraft can there be? So MD-80, the Mad Dogs, as Drew is affectionately called. His Slack name is Mad Dog. So you can see he has a good love for that.
Robert,
Yeah.
just something to add on there.
Mm-hmm.
I would go camping in Myrtle Beach, and we would stay in the beach, and it would be a perfect place for since Myrtle Beach, they don't have such a big airport, but they usually take flights from Allegiant and Spirit, and I would just sit there the whole day on the beach and just look at like have every like little bit. There would be either an A320 Spirit or like an MD-80 Allegiant flying by, and that's just how I. And one funny thing, I used to, before I could speak English, I used to think Allegiant was elegant, and then finally when I actually went to kindergarten, I figured it was Allegiant. So just one little thing to mention out there. Maybe make some
Yeah.
of the users laugh with the joke or laugh at me. So.
Hopefully nobody laughs at you. That's never the intent. But you said Myrtle Beach, right?
Yes, sir.
Just so you know, Frontier's just started routes there from Denver. So.
That's neat.
Oh yeah. Oh
Hey
yeah.
Drew, that's a little, maybe hint, cough cough, a little like ROTW that you could add.
Just a little hint at Robert. It's
Yeah.
actually pronounced Bombardier, and not whatever you're saying.
But Bombardier.
Yes,
Bum.
Bombardier.
That's too
I never.
Canadian, man. I can't even say what you just said. What did you say?
It's Bombardier.
Bombardier.
Yes, that's
Bombardier.
how you pronounce it.
I'm never gonna remember that. I
Yep.
absolutely am. I 100% confident. After the end of this live stream, I'm gonna completely forget and I'm gonna start calling it the other way. But I do appreciate the call out. I
I got you.
I'm so embarrassed now. Like, everybody's gonna be like, I can't believe he said it that way. Uh, but thank you for calling me out on that. Like, and if I do pronounce any of your names wrong, anything wrong, feel free to comment below. Just try to keep like the middle fingers down and the swear words out. I'm just one human. Captain Zach, who we mentioned a few times, does say, to be honest, I don't think Spirit can even compare themselves to Frontier. And my man,
Nope.
while I do agree,
I agree. Yeah.
I do think we should keep that open mind. Like a lot of people are against Spirit more than I am. I'm against Southwest 100%, but Spirit I don't personally have a preference for. I've flown them. They were not delayed at all. I've gotten worse flights from United, and my staff and pilots bear the brunt of my anger over United. I absolutely despise United at this point, and United is currently a worse airline in my book than Spirit. So that'll go to show how Spirit has affected me. But again, they're not my favorite. I don't care about them. But so I mean, in terms of Frontier versus Spirit, yeah, they can't compare themselves. But Spirit to the rest of the U.S. airlines, it's a little bit dicey. Ryan Green, my man, what's up? And I am reading these a bit kind of delayed because we were chatting a bit up. Ryan Green says he's in, I believe, Hawaii. You should drop a call sign and flight aware information, and we'll try and track you, my man. Legionnaire says everyone spam hashtag Sprint here in the FVA chat. What do you guys think about that? Like our current logo is Spirit of the West, but wouldn't that be funny? Like on April Fools or something, we just change our slogan to Sprint here. What do you think, Nathan? Should we do that?
I see. I kind of want to like retain from putting an answer out there just because of getting yelled at, saying like no, no, yes, yes. But I think it would be cool. But obviously, I'm not staff, nor am I someone that you are going to listen to, or the staff. So, I really don't have an answer.
It was a weird question, my man. Don't worry about it. I just kind of threw that out there, like, oh, I wonder, what if we made our slogan for? I think actually April Fool's Day is Easter. I think that would be an interesting. We could make an event on Easter and call it the Sprintier event. That would be fun.
Too bad I'll be gone and I won't be able to join. But if you do that, enjoy it. And
I got you, my man.
Got him good.
I think Drew caught what I was doing.
I did. I caught it. It was low key, but I caught it.
I have a childish mind, my friend. Anyway, gosh, I'm gonna hate that. And LA Generic says I like to pull 0 G's in my Frontier aircraft. You do you. Oh, it looks like Ryan Green did say American 230 track ya. So spam him up by dropping some good wishes. Ryan Green, stay safe, my friend. OJ Fam does say passengers don't like me because I tend not to show up for my flights. Yeah, that would be an issue. Nathan, my man, when you're flying, make sure you show up for your flight. Otherwise, your passengers will hate you. It's been confirmed.
Yes, sir.
And in terms of what people thought of their animals, Zach says, I like the fox, don't know the name. Come on, Zach. You should. I've educated you in the ways of the Frontier. I'll let you think about that before I give the answer. OJ Fam says turtle. We'll just pause at that. A Legionnaire says I like Griswold the bear because I like bears, and that's a very valid reason. Very valid. I mean, come on, Nathan. Why didn't you think of that? You like cardinals because it's a cardinal. Like, come on.
I'm sorry, my friend.
We love you, Legionnaire. Thanks for the comment, my man. OJ. Justin just says turtle because it's a turtle. I'm loving the quality of these. I like it because it's a bear. I like it because it's a turtle. I mean, if that's what Frontier does for you, why not? Daniel says Robert he likes Griswold. Yeah, I do. My Frontier host animal is Griswold the bear. Although I still have to decide. Justin, Nathan, we'll start with you. Do you prefer Griswold the bear in the A320 green livery or the Griswold the bear in the A320 silver blocks livery? I don't know if you've seen either one, but that's some contention. People are like, which one do you like? Do you have a personal preference? All right, we're gonna pass it. Looks like Nathan's.
But I'll take the green livery.
I'm sorry, what happened? I was kind of distracted.
That's a new one.
You're fine. Drew was just answering a question.
Okay.
Go ahead, Drew.
But yeah, the green livery, the new one. I'll definitely take over the old one.
Oh yeah, I love the green one. Although I think the silver blocks are cool. I love how this podcast episode was meant to sit with Nathan and discuss the ranking system, and now it's just turned into a real world aviation Frontier versus Banana Bus. So thank you, Nathan, for being patient and being willing.
Of course, my man.
I hope this wasn't a disappointment to you.
Oh no, I absolutely loved it. It was amazing.
Go ahead, Drew. I'm sorry, I kept interrupting you.
No, I said it's a nice little chat we got going on.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with the chat we have going on. Like, I was thinking maybe we'd have 2 or 3 people show up, they'd talk for 5 seconds and leave, but got a nice extensive chat. Yeah.
Put me on more podcasts. I mean, maybe
obviously. I mean, you're a good luck charm, man. Seriously. I mean, you're a role model to what senior officers will be. So, not saying that every person who becomes a senior officer is going to get on board with the podcast, but thank you very much. Kea Den Marquette says, I love Hugh the Manatee just because of how it looks. I don't know if that's the animal itself or the livery itself, but I do like that. What do you think, Nathan? Do you like the Hugh the Manatee in the current simulator? Not just the real world, but the sim?
I love it. I would always choose that livery for the A320. I would, go with Alberto and Clipper a couple times. I would go with I'll go with Colorado the Ram, maybe like and the other ones, and I honestly love all of them, but to be honest, I would not just because it was one of the new like liveries with like the green letters. It was just because I actually do like the livery itself, like the animal.
Nice. Um, and we are starting to wrap up near the end of the stream. Looks like we got some folks who need to head out. And thank you all for everybody who's been staying here. Drew, I know you said we're just chilling. You know, we could go all night, and we absolutely could go. So I do think the next podcast episode we will have just a aviation chat. You know, we may not even talk about FVA. It may just be the Frontier Aviation Podcast episode or like part 1 or something, and we'll sprinkle in some real world aviation episodes because I mean like it was great talking about the ranks, and I hope you do. Your mind has been open to kind of how it works, and if you have more questions, feel free to DM me on the community forums or in Slack. But it's always nice just kind of sitting back, relaxing, enjoying a nice hour and a half stream. I hope you guys do enjoy it. Before we do go, we'll read out some of the comments, and then we're gonna bid our farewells to the wonderful Nathan here. El Legionnaire says his favorites: Chloe the Fawn A318, Griswold the Bear A320, 320 Neo, Sunny the Collared Lizard, and Virginia the Wolf A321. Funny story, I actually flew Virginia the Wolf from Las Vegas to Denver, so it has a special place in me. Zach keeps asking, what's the fox's name? Man, my man, Google is your assistant. Let me just making sure. Zach says, I wouldn't say they're low cost for Southwest much more, but occasionally those $49 sales will come around. But I definitely think they should compete with the top 3 as far as service. I think that's where a lot of people are like half of the people I talk to say they're low cost, half say that they're a legacy carrier. Zach also says Southwest was nominated 2 most loved airline in the world in 2017. First place was American. That's actually interesting. Is that a surprise to you guys? American was apparently nominated for the most loved airline in the world.
That is definitely a surprise for me. I think I would probably expect it to be like Delta or something, or maybe like along those lines. I'm talking about more the American carrier.
Yeah, because I was gonna say in terms of the world, I would go outside of America and say like Emirates or those kind of guys. But
I do agree with you. I would like Virgin, not Australia. What you call Virgin Atlantic? I think it's up there. Qantas. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess some options out there.
What about you? What about you, Drew? What do you think about the fact? I don't like. This is just from what Zach says. I don't know how legit it is. I don't think you're like false, Zach, but I don't want to spread rumors if it's not the truth. So we'll just go with the fact that currently, what I've heard is that they're they're the most loved. What do you think about that, Drew? Is that a shocker, or did you think they earned that?
Well, a lot of people fly American. A lot of people live here in America. They love the country. They love the airline. I guess that could make sense. Just from like a nationalistic standpoint.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I've flown most of the carriers in the United States in terms of the big guys. I've flown Delta, United, Southwest, Frontier, Spirit. Most of the guys people know about. American's one of the ones I haven't checked out. Anyway,
hey Robert, my friend.
Yeah.
Just sorry to cut you out, my man. I just wanted to say I actually have to head out in around 5 minutes, and I was actually the only reason I have to is I told my parents I'd be out. We actually have to go somewhere, and even though it's like 9:30 Central, we want to go. It's my uncle's birthday, and we kind of want to go and like have like tea with them or something. The usual maybe American thing, and I kind of have like maybe 3, roughly 4 minutes. So just even if you guys want to continue, I might have to drop the mic.
No, man. This podcast episode's about you. We won't go farther than you. And like a Legionnaire says, rip Nathan. Bedtime for Nathan.
It's not bedtime, but maybe
kidding,
I'm just making an excuse now.
Drew, obviously we just have a few minutes left, but any final remarks that you might have?
No, but I've been watching the chat. Mike said something. He called me a patriot. I appreciate it. I am.
Oh yeah, Drew's
And
a
he
patriot.
said Drew was awesome too. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in. My gosh, I have not seen like such an active chat for any of our previous podcasts. You know, we've had a good amount of viewers. We have eight people currently watching. That's absolutely amazing. And I will end on behalf of Nathan, who I mean, we don't want to have any fun without you, man. So, what
Thank
do
you,
you
my friend.
say to the next real world aviation group, and kind of differing from FVA? So you'll be able to talk a little bit more about real world. What do you say about joining us back for another podcast episode?
I'm speechless. I would love to. I was gonna make a stupid joke, like have everyone put in chat, like comment hashtag bring Nathan back, and I was like, I'll keep it out just for like, no advertising. But this blows my mind, Robert. I love you guys truly. Yeah, I would absolutely love to.
All right, sounds like a plan. We need Justin, if you're still in the chat awake. We need you guys back. So I got you guys on the list, and for IFWRATC. And no, I'm not spelling an inappropriate word. That's just their anagram for their name. Nathan, it's been amazing here having you. Thank you guys.
It's been an honor to be here. Sorry.
No, Allegiant said hashtag make Nathan leave.
Oh, well.
This is
Allegiant, my man.
Just kidding. We love you, Nathan. Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was like, please just don't leave it there, my man. That's not good. Thank you, everybody, for joining us live here in the Frontier Virtual Studio. I'm your host, Infinite Flight, joined in the right-hand seat by my co-host in today's episode, Mr. Drew. Drew, I know you're sick, but thanks for making the podcast episode and for being willing to chill out, talk about the banana bus, and listen to my rants.
Oh, I'm always down to hang out and chill. Don't matter how I'm feeling.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, guys. It's been our pleasure here at Frontier Virtual Airlines, all staff, bringing this episode live to you. Before we end off, let me give you a few shout-outs to those who deserve it. Daniel, foremost, thank you, and a huge, just absolute mind-blowing gratitude for your time and dedication, for staying up this late, being willing to record this. I believe in about 5 minutes, we're going to go on an hour and a half stream, and I cannot have asked for a better guy here. I asked some last-minute things of you for this episode. You blew my mind, my dude. You're amazing. Never forget that. And to anybody who's listening, Daniel is the reason for my success. Daniel is the reason that this podcast is here. Daniel is the reason for everything. Not to get all mushy on you guys, but Daniel, my man, you deserve everything. You've not gotten the credit you deserve. And I really feel bad. Now I'm gonna cry. No, I'm just kidding. I'm making it my mission to bring you the credit you deserve, because literally without you, it would not be here. Nathan, thank you so much for being willing to be interviewed live. It's a bit daunting. It's a daunting task for most. I appreciate you coming to the flight deck and answering all of our probing questions, and for being willing to sit through parts of the podcast that maybe might have been a bit boring at parts.
My Robert, my man, my Robert, yeah, my Robert. I couldn't be happier to be part of it, and I'm just thrilled and super excited that you've invited me back to join the next podcast of just basically ranting about aviation. I'm really excited and have a few things that will wait that I'm excited to say, and I'll be patient. And thank you for hearing me out, and to everyone who listened and kind of hearing me out. And yeah, I guess that's where I'm going to drop it.
Beautiful way to put it. Kind of a
Yes,
cliffhanger. We'll catch you in the next episode, and it may not be the next one after this, because I do have some pre-recorded stuff that I want to get out there about the new update, CRJ, all that lovely stuff.
Of course.
But the next live stream we do, I do hope for it to be just kind of a chill, grab your cup of coffee, get your PJs on, sit on the couch with a blanket and just talk about aviation, which is what brings most of us together. Thank you all for listening, and it means the world to me and to my staff that you guys, the podcast guests, the listeners, those who comment in the comment section, it it just blows my mind that you take time out of your night or day to listen to an Infinite Flight podcast, specifically this one. Any support you can give us, including liking this episode, absolutely destroying that episode. Don't crack your screen, but you know what I mean. Punch that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Any and all support will not go unnoticed and means a ton to us. Every subscriber we get, it's a little mini celebration. Anyways, folks, please keep your earphones in until this episode has come to a full and complete stop. One of our crew members will then be here in the comment section to help you deplane and answer any questions you may have about connecting episodes. If you'd like to find more about us, find us on the Infinite Flight community forums. On behalf of this crew operating your episode today and all flying on board with us, we thank you for tuning in. And without a doubt, I will see you in the next live stream or pre-recorded episode. Clear skies and smooth landings, everybody. Stay safe. See you all in episode 16.